The spiritual veil between the invisible world and this physical world is thinning. It is dissipating more and more by the day. There's more spiritual activity going on than a little bit. If you are not spiritually sensitive, it will be easy for you to miss these things. Many of us can feel a thickness in the air. We can feel and we can sense that something has taken place. We might not be able to put our finger on exactly what it is, but many of us can feel this. I remember back in like 2017, somewhere between 2017 and 2018. This is when I was still working in the cafeteria, all right? I'm working downtown Washington, D.C. with the rest of the slaves in the cafeteria, serving all the other nations, all right? And I remember, I'll never forget it. I was in the dish room, washing dishes. And all of a sudden, I remember a feeling came over me. I've never felt that feeling before. It was so strong, I instantly knew. I didn't know what had happened, but I instantly knew that something big had took place in the spiritual realm, in the invisible world. I don't know what it was pertaining to, but I just remember, and I remember how odd that felt, because here I am in captivity at work, slaving away on the dish machine, and then I remember being overcome with this feeling, and it came out of left field. I wasn't thinking about anything like that or anything. It came out of left field, and I instantly knew that something very big and very important had just taken place in the spirit realm. That was like between 2017 and 2018. Probably late 2017, going into 2018. If it was even early 2019. Somewhere between late 2017 and early 2019. I can't really remember, y'all. But I felt that feeling, and it was very, very strong. It was so strong, I didn't have to wonder about it. I knew. Because the Most High has always had me be extremely spiritually sensitive. I told that testimony of mine about a year ago when the Most High had a tree, a literal tree, talked to me. Okay? Now I know that sounds crazy as all get out, y'all. But a tree actually did talk to me. It stopped me. I was going to commit a robbery. I'm just going to be real with you. I was going to commit a robbery. All right? Now, have I done things that I know I shouldn't have did before? Of course I have. But I've never committed a robbery. All praises to the Most High God. But I was going to commit a robbery this day because I reached my breaking point. And I just couldn't take it no more. I did a live stream about that. It's still up. I just couldn't take it no more. And I reached my boiling point, and I wasn't wondering, I wasn't questioning. I was going to commit this robbery. And then I was just planning the robbery. Because like I said, I'm not a robber. That's not my game. I never committed a robbery. But I got so low, couldn't find a job. And I had put in so many applications after application after application, calling back, checking on it. It was the same old, same old. Nobody was calling me back. And I felt the pressure and the stress of being so-called black. I'm going to let y'all in on a little secret. that you probably already know, because it's probably the same for every community. But definitely for the so-called black community, when you don't have money coming in, you are labeled a loser. Doesn't matter if you're a quote unquote decent person. Doesn't matter if you're quote unquote a good guy. Doesn't matter how much you are trying to do what's right. It gets to a point where it's just like this. Nigga, are you earning money or not? Flat out. And if the answer is no in the black community, you would be deemed a loser. Okay? Now, I'm not justifying it. I'm just saying that's the way it is. And I was feeling the pressure from that. I couldn't take it no more. It was so bad. I had zero money coming in. I couldn't even buy $1 soda from McDonald's. I'm black now. Early 20s. Early 20s. I couldn't take it no more. I said, you know what? Screw this. I'm committing a robbery today. I gotta have some money. I got to get some money. And so once I came to the conclusion that, okay, we're committing this robbery, there was no more wondering about how I was going to get money. I was going to go out and commit this robbery. So now I'm just sitting in the crib, looking out the window, planning this robbery, saying to myself, and you know what I kept saying to myself? All right now, we only want to get the money. We ain't going to kill nobody. Not knowing how many times do robberies go awry just like that. Sometimes people may actually plan on, at least they tell themselves, hey, I ain't gonna kill nobody. But when you get in the middle of committing a robbery, sometimes things don't go according to plan. Sometimes the other guy says, hey, nigga, I'm not giving you nothing. I'm gonna take your life. So now you're forced to fight for your life because you tried to take something from somebody that didn't belong to you. I remember clear as day, like it was yesterday, staring out of my balcony and just looking out onto the street saying, I ain't gonna kill nobody. I don't want to kill nobody. We not gonna kill nobody. So how we gonna pull this robbery? What if they don't want to give it up? What if they resist? So I'm going through all the motions and steps in my mind of how I'm gonna pull off this robbery, even if they try to resist me without killing somebody. Because I kept saying, I ain't gonna kill nobody. I don't want to kill nobody. And as I'm there, knee deep in this robbery plan, there was a very large tree that sat directly in front of my balcony. It was a big old tree. It's still there in my old neighborhood, right? One of the old neighborhoods I used to live in. And all of a sudden, that tree started talking to me. Just like I'm talking to y'all right now. If I'm lying, I'm dying. Now look, there was nobody else home but me. I was the only one there. But I'm not in my right frame of mind right now. I'm in here preparing to go do a robbery. And you know what? That was on a Friday too. I remember that. That was on a Friday. So I'm sitting here. I'm not in my right frame of mind, right? I'm like, I ain't gonna kill nobody. Don't want to kill nobody. But I don't want nobody to kill me. Sometimes when you're committing a robbery, sometimes you get killed. The person doing the robbery gets killed. And as I'm sitting there, staring out onto the streets, because I was going to do that robbery that same day, okay? So I'm sitting there, right? And I think he must have said something like, hey, you know how when you're not looking and there's somebody who's outside of your vision and they want your attention, they go, hey. And when they say, hey, you look. So I'm sitting on the sofa. I know that I'm home by myself. There's nobody there. But I heard somebody say, hey. So, of course, I'm like, there's nobody here. I'm like, yo, I'm losing my mind right now. So then I get back again to planning out this robbery in my mind. looking out the window, probably even looking around the crib like I'm a wreck at this point because I know I'm gonna commit this robbery. And I'm just trying to figure out the best way to pull this thing off without killing somebody, right? And I heard it again. Hey. And I'm like, did somebody just call me? Because they didn't call my name. All it said was, hey, like somebody trying to get your attention. So I want to say I probably even like look to the left or look to the right. Why I would have did that, I don't know, because there was nobody there but me. But when you hear somebody saying, hey, you know, the natural instinct is to look. And this happened like 2 or 3 times. So once again, I just go back to zoning out, looking off the balcony. I didn't have the TV on. I didn't have the radio on. I was in deep meditation and thought about this robbery. And I kept saying to myself, I ain't gonna kill nobody. I ain't gonna kill nobody. And then I heard it again. Hey, this time it was more louder and more aggressive, like, nigga, I'm trying to get your attention. And I look, this tree like sits right in the middle of my balcony. So then I look, and when I look, like, there was nobody in the house. And when it said, hey, I remember I don't know if I was looking to the left or the right. I might have been looking down because my mind was racing. And then that last time, it was a little more vigorous. Hey! And I looked, and all I saw was the tree. And then, I can't remember if the tree said, yeah, I'm talking to you. It might have said, I can't remember if it said that, but it definitely let me know that it was the tree talking. Because when I looked, I was like, hold up. I'm losing my mind right now. But I'm looking at this tree because I know their voice came from the direction of that tree. And there was nobody in the crib with me. So as I'm looking at that tree, like, I'm losing my mind, but I know that tree, their voice came from that tree. So I'm looking at that tree, and then that tree just started ripping me a new one, y'all. Look, I know this sounds crazy, fam. Trust me, I know it sounds crazy. That tree ripped me a new one. And that tree told me basically, nigga, you ain't robbing nobody. You are not going to commit this robbery. You're not doing it. And I can feel you know how when somebody knows that you done something that you shouldn't have did, you misbehaved, or you acted out of character, or you did something horrific, and somebody who knows you, they found out what you did, and you know how they got a feeling like they're disappointed in you, like you let them down. Like maybe it's your mother, maybe your father, your grandmother, your uncle found out that you were doing something that you know you shouldn't have been doing. Very bad. And the look and the feeling of disappointment that somebody would have in you because they know that you shouldn't be doing that, and they know that you know you shouldn't be doing that. That's the kind of vibes that I started getting from that tree. And it was freaking me out because I was like, is this a tree? Like, that tree ripped me a new one. I can't even remember even everything that the tree said to me. This was a long time ago. I was still black. I was wicked at this time. But I just remember sitting there and I couldn't run. I remember feeling ashamed. Like, that tree ripped me a new one so hard. It probably went on for like 40, 45 minutes. And just, that tree let me know how disappointed it was in me. I could feel it. I could feel the tree's spirit. The tree was very disappointed in me. And I was even ashamed. I don't want to say I couldn't look at the tree because I was looking at the tree, but I felt low. I felt bad because that tree was talking to me like it had been knowing me my whole entire life. And I could tell it was very disappointing in me. It was sad and disappointing in me. And it kind of made me sad that the tree, I know this sounds crazy, y'all, But the tree was sad and disappointed in me, and that made me feel sad. I felt like I had let that tree down, even though I didn't know that you can let a tree down. I know it sounds ridiculous, but that's what happened. That tree stopped me from committing a robbery, and it basically let me know. I don't know if y'all heard that sound confirmation in the background. That tree basically let me know how disappointed in me it was and how I was not going to commit that robbery because the tree said so. And I could just feel like I felt so bad because I knew that I had let that tree down. And I felt like all of a sudden, like I had been knowing that tree my whole life. And I felt like that tree was like a part of my family or something. I know it sounds crazy, y'all. That tree was very disappointed in me. And I was disappointed in myself. And there was nowhere to run. Nobody was home but me. I just sat there and I got chewed out by that tree. And that tree told me, you are not going to commit that robbery. No, you're not. I can't believe you. Like that tree was scolding me, y'all. And it basically talked me down out of committing that robbery. I kid you not. At this time, I'm still wicked now. I was black. Once that tree talked me down and once I realized that that tree was actually talking to me, I couldn't help it. I was having one of those moments. I fell on my knees and I started praying to the Most High God. If I'm lying, I'm dying. I told you I filled out so many applications, months and months and months. Nobody would call me back. As I fell down on my knees and started praying to the Most High God, literally, as I'm in the middle of my prayer, I want to say I was coming toward the end of it. I was getting ready to wrap up the prayer. But I didn't have a chance to wrap it up, and I didn't have a chance to say in JC's name, because at this time I believed in JC, and I definitely would have ended that prayer in the name of JC. But right as I'm getting to that ending the prayer point, I remember like it was yesterday, I was on my knees praying harder than I ever prayed before. And as I'm praying, the phone rung. If I'm lying, I'm dying. The phone rung as I'm praying. I don't know who this is. This is way before caller ID. Wasn't no cell phone. This was the house phone. I answers the phone. Lo and behold, it is a job calling me, telling me to come in for an interview on the following coming Monday. Cannot make this up, y'all. That was on a Friday. I was getting ready to go out and commit a robbery. And that tree talked me out of it, said, nope, you are not going to commit that robbery. I can't believe you. Who do you think you are? I mean, that tree chewed me out. I can't even remember everything that he said, but that was the gist of it. You're not going to commit this robbery. Who do you think you are? You ought to be ashamed of yourself. And he just scolded me. And you know how sometimes maybe your mother, your father, your grandmother, grandfather, they might be scolding you. And in the middle of them scolding you, they'll just stop and just look at you with disappointment. It was a time or two as I was getting chewed out by that tree, the tree would just stop and just basically look at me like, I can't believe you. Sound confirmation, letting y'all know I'm not making this up, y'all. And like I said, when I realized that I could not, of course I couldn't go out there and commit a robbery after that. That tree told me that I was not going to commit that robbery. And he chewed me out. And the tree was disappointed in me. And it made me disappointed in myself. So as I dropped to my knees and I'm praying, that phone rung, y'all. Right when I was getting ready to wrap up my prayer. I didn't even have a chance to do the idolatry in JC's name. That phone rung. I don't know who this is. I go over there to answer the phone, and it is a job, one of the places I put in the application for. I have been trying to find a job for months, with no luck. But here I am on that Friday getting ready to commit a crime, a robbery, and the tree talked me out of it. And as I was praying, the job called me and said, we'd like you to come in Monday for an interview. I cannot make none of this up, y'all. Why did I just tell y'all that story again? Because the spiritual veil is thinning. The veil between the invisible world and the physical world is thinning. Sometimes people have what you would call dreams and visions. Sometimes, I believe sometimes these things are not dreams. Sometimes you have what you would call dreams. I believe that it's not a dream at all. You actually traveled to another place in the spirit. And it felt like a dream because it wasn't where you were physically at. But I really do believe that some of these dreams that we think we was having are not dreams at all. We actually went to another place. You know what I mean? If you know what I'm talking about, if you can identify with anything what I'm talking about, go down in the comment section and say, I know what you're talking about. The Most High, he doesn't change. And he has always had supernatural ways of communicating with his chosen people, the Israelites. Whether that's visions, dreams, signs, wonders. Sometimes people can hear things with their spiritual ears, see things with their spiritual eyes. We are in that season right now, family. To the people who need to get this, they're going to get it. Why? That's why we say Tav X. Tav X. Purity and becoming one. Because when you become pure, and there's only one way to do that, you got to turn to the Most High and him alone. Once you become pure, the Most High will be able to communicate with you more effectively. The purer you are, the more easier it will be for him to get through to you. And if he just needs to crack straight through and get to you, he'll do it. Because I wasn't pure at all when that tree talked to me. But the Most High, he knew I was getting ready to go out and do something stupid. I was past the, am I going to commit this robbery? I was planning how I was going to do it. Somebody was getting robbed that day, and I was going to be the one to do it. But all praises to the Most High God, he sent a tree to talk me out of committing a robbery. Could it change my life? Well, I'm sorry. It did change my life forever. Maybe it saved my life because I maybe would have ended up going to prison for maiming somebody or killing somebody. Or maybe I would have got killed myself. Because I kept on saying, I ain't going to kill nobody. I ain't going to kill nobody. See, why you got to tell yourself something like that? Because you know what you're getting ready to do. There's a good chance that someone could get hurt or killed. So you try to rationalize by telling yourself, I'm not going to kill nobody. I'm not going to kill nobody. But all praises to the Most High God. He sent that tree. Hallelujah. Like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Do your best to turn to the Most High and him only. We in the end times, Hebrews. I've been praying to the Most High that he gives us all spiritual powers and that he shows us how to use it for righteousness' sake. He'll do it. But we got to do our part. We got to turn to him with all our heart, mind, and soul. Tav X, Hebrews. Purity and becoming one. I'm out.